When people talk about the greatest defensive players in NFL history, a few names always come up. Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Bruce Smith. But there's one player whose name has quickly entered that conversation. Aaron Donald. Some fans think he's the greatest defensive tackle ever. Others think he's the greatest defensive player of all time. But just how good was Aaron Donald actually? Let's take a look. Believe it or not, Aaron Donald wasn't viewed as a perfect NFL prospect. Coming out of the University of Pittsburgh, scouts loved his production but questioned his size. At around 6 feet 1 inch and 285 pounds, Donald was considered undersized for a defensive tackle. Many teams preferred bigger players on the defensive line, but what scouts didn't realize was that Donald wasn't normal. He was stronger, faster, more explosive, and far more skilled than almost anyone he lined up against. In the 2014 NFL Draft, the Rams selected Donald with the 13th overall pick. It wouldn't take long for the NFL to realize it had made a mistake by letting him fall that far. Most defensive tackles take years to develop. Aaron Donald needed weeks. As a rookie, he recorded 9 sacks and immediately won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Think about that. Most interior defensive linemen are expected to stop the run. Donald was destroying quarterbacks, and he was doing it from the toughest position on the defensive line. By his second season, he had already become one of the best defenders in football. By his third season, he was arguably the best. Let's talk about statistics. Because Aaron Donald's numbers are almost unbelievable. Donald finished his career with over 110 sacks. Now that might not sound crazy compared to edge rushers. But remember, Aaron Donald wasn't an edge rusher. He was a defensive tackle. Defensive tackles line up directly against the biggest offensive linemen on the field. They usually don't put up huge sack numbers. Yet Donald consistently did. In fact, there were seasons where he produced more sacks than elite edge rushers. That simply doesn't happen. It's like asking a center in basketball to lead the league in three-pointers. The position isn't supposed to do that. But Aaron Donald did it anyway. From 2017 through 2021, Aaron Donald might have had one of the greatest peaks in NFL history. In 2018 alone, he recorded 20.5 sacks. 20.5. As a defensive tackle, to put that into perspective, many star pass rushers never reach that number. Donald did it while fighting through double teams nearly every snap. Offenses knew exactly where he was, and they still couldn't stop him. Quarterbacks constantly had to worry about pressure coming directly up the middle. That's every quarterback's nightmare, because unlike edge rusher, there is nowhere to escape. One thing that statistics don't fully show is how much attention Donald received. Every week, offensive coordinators built entire game plans around slowing him down. Double teams became normal. Sometimes teams used 3 blockers. Imagine being so dominant that 3 professional football players are needed just to slow you down. And despite all that attention, Donald continued making plays. This is one of the biggest reasons many analysts believe his impact was greater than his raw statistics suggest. The offense wasn't just trying to stop him. The offense was trying to survive him. If you're wondering whether Aaron Donald's dominance was recognized, the answer is absolutely. Donald won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. Only a handful of players in NFL history have won that award multiple times. 3 times puts him in incredibly rare company. He was selected to numerous Pro Bowls, named first-team All-Pro year after year, and consistently ranked among the best players in the entire NFL, regardless of position. Not defensive player. Player. That tells you everything you need to know. Great players put up stats. Legends win championships. In the 2021 season, Donald helped lead the Rams to a Super Bowl title. And fittingly, one of the biggest plays came from him. Late in the game, with the championship on the line, Donald pressured the quarterback and helped seal the victory. It was the perfect ending. The Rams had built their defense around Aaron Donald. And when they needed one final play, he delivered. This is where things get interesting. There have been incredible defensive tackles throughout NFL history. Players like Mean Joe Green, Warren Sapp, John Randall, Alan Page, all of them changed the game. But Aaron Donald may have combined the best parts of all of them. The power, the speed, the technique, the production, the consistency. Very few defensive tackles have ever reached his level, and almost none have sustained it for as long as he did. That's why many fans and analysts consider him the greatest defensive tackle in NFL history. This debate is much tougher. Players like Lawrence Taylor completely changed how football was played. Reggie White was unstoppable. Bruce Smith remains the NFL's all-time sack leader. There are many worthy candidates. But Aaron Donald belongs in that conversation. The fact that he was a defensive tackle makes his accomplishments even more impressive. He wasn't playing the easiest position to rack up sacks. He was dominating from one of the hardest. And he was doing it against constant double and triple teams. An undersized prospect who became a nightmare for offenses. A defensive tackle who produced like an elite edge rusher. A 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. A Super Bowl champion, and quite possibly the greatest defensive tackle in NFL history. The scary part? Every team knew exactly what he was going to do. And nobody could stop him. That's how good Aaron Donald actually was.